Welcome to the PingPong IdP Discovery demo. I'm Eric Fazenden, and I'll be showing you a demo of this new IdP Discovery protocol. To set the stage, I have a test environment running 2 service providers and 30 identity providers. All 32 of these are accessed via separate DNS names to represent a real-world scenario. Also important to note that during the discovery process in my demo, I've added a randomized delay to the identity provider applications to simulate real-world delay in internet traffic. Additionally, my browser will start without any cookies, which you can see here with the window on the right. So let's get started. First, I will log into an IdP application. I've chosen IdP number 12. And I'll select a username here and log in. Upon authenticating, the IdP has written a cookie to my browser. And this cookie is important to the PingPong IdP Discovery protocol in that it's a persistent cookie, and it basically indicates to the IdP that yes, I have in fact authenticated here at some point in the past. So I'll remove the session cookie and navigate to a service provider application, and specifically to content at a service provider. Now what this will do is immediately trigger the PingPong IdP Discovery protocol, as I am not authenticated at the service provider yet. And you can see that the protocol is executing. There's a message to the end user. There's an animation indicating that a process is underway. And now the service provider has determined through PingPong IdP Discovery that IdP number 12 has authenticated me previously, and therefore is giving me the opportunity to SSO from that particular IdP. So if I click that link again, I can log back into the IdP and immediately SSO back to the service provider. And you can see there's a message here of congratulations, you've SSO'd from IdP 12. The other important thing to note here is that the service provider has written a cookie. And this is another persistent cookie, and it indicates the last IdP I've SSO'd from. And therefore, if I remove my session cookie, I'll do it from both applications, and I come back to the service provider and try to access content, again unauthenticated this time, it's going to immediately read that IdP cookie and determine that, well, I have SSO'd successfully from IdP 12 in the past, therefore it immediately provides me that link rather than going through the PingPong IdP Discovery protocol. So to show you a little bit more about how PingPong IdP Discovery works, we'll go to another service provider application. And I will show you a few more things that are actually happening behind the scenes. Now I want to draw your attention to 2 things, the Pong status message here and the iframes that you see loading in the page. First, the service provider renders these iframes on the page, normally hidden to the end user. The source of each iframe is the ping handler URL of each IdP. When the IdP receives a request to the ping handler, it checks to see if the browser includes the logged in here cookie, and then sends a 302 redirect to the service provider's Pong handler with a query parameter indicating whether or not the user has ever logged in at that IdP. The service provider maintains all these responses in the user session. So while that is executing, there's an AJAX call being made from the browser back to the service provider's Pong status URL. This is a way for the browser to be told when PingPong IdP Discovery has completed, and for the browser to display the IdP where the user can authenticate an SSO from. Just to show you this process again, I'll click refresh and you can see them all loading again. So those 2 things, the iframes and the AJAX calls, are basically the heart of PingPong IdP Discovery. But there are obviously other edge cases and alternative possible designs. For example, you may have noticed here that I have a paging mechanism built into this page so that we're only querying 10 IdPs at a time. If all 10 of those come back with a negative response, then we're issuing a second request to the next set of 10. Other things that fall into this category, though, would be error scenarios, prioritizing the list of IdPs, the scenario where the user has not authenticated at an IdP, the scenario where the user has authenticated at many IdPs, and surely there are others. Well, that's the demo, and I hope you find PingPong IdP Discovery interesting. If you have any questions, we do have a Google group where you can ask them.